Okay, so what I'd like to do today is to make a video to help you understand how to make graphs in Google Sheets. And this is going to be the first video. This is how to make a simple graph from start to finish. So the first thing that you're going to do is open up your data that you want to use to make a graph. The second thing that you're going to do is to look over your data to make sure that there's nothing jumping out at you that shouldn't be there. For instance, I see here under wind speed that one of the numbers has MPH, letters after it. We don't want anything but numbers in our actual data, so I'm going to delete that MPH. Now, under wind direction, that can stay. That's fine. And then I'm going to check my date column because a lot of times that's where I find errors. And I'm going to make sure that my dates go in order, that there's no dates skipped, and that I have the correct year. So that all looks good as I'm scanning my dates. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a graph that shows temperature. So I don't need all of this data to make my temperature graph. I'm going to go down here on the bottom where you see I have sheet 1. I'm going to rename that data or data table. The reason I'm doing that is because this data here, I really don't want to mess around with. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to delete anything by accident. So this I'm going to keep on this one worksheet here. So what I need to do is create another worksheet. And so I'm going to go down here on the bottom and there's a plus sign that says add sheet and I'm going to click it. It gives me a blank sheet to work on and I'm going to call this one temp. On the bottom here, I renamed it temp. So I need to populate this. I need to put something here. So I'm going to click back on my data table and I'm going to select the date and the temperature because that's what I will need for my graph. So I click and hold where it says date, and then I keep holding the mouse and I go over to temperature and I drag down to the bottom. You'll see a blue box around it now. And so now I can copy. Control C copies it. I know it's copied when the blue box changes into dotted lines. Now I'm going to go back on the bottom and open this temp page, and I'm going to click in the cell A1, and I'm going to do Control V to paste it. Now everything I need is on this page. I don't want my graph to show as a label temperature real. I want it to show temperature in Fahrenheit. You can either type out temperature in Fahrenheit or you can insert the degrees Fahrenheit symbol. Now to create your graph, it's quite simple. Select the numbers and the date. So you don't want to select the titles. Notice how only the numbers and the date are selected. The titles are not blue. The spreadsheet is smart enough to figure out what it is that we are trying to graph. Now you have two choices. You can click on this chart little logo to insert it, or you can go up into Insert Chart. It's going to have the same results, which it's going to place a chart or a graph into your spreadsheet. I want this to not cover my data, so I'm going to slide it over. Now, this graph looks great, but it's not perfect. Over here, you'll see you can do lots of edits on the chart. Or you can simply click on the chart. I'm going to start by changing the name of this graph. It's not a great name, so I want the person looking at this to know exactly what this is showing. So I'm going to change the name to Chicago, Illinois, because that's the city. Temperatures, and then in parentheses, I will write the dates, October 15th to 30th, 2019. Okay, this temperature in Fahrenheit label looks good, although I made a typo, so I'm going to fix that typo. I spelled Fahrenheit wrong. Date on the bottom looks good. My dates are there. You can play around over here with different different fonts if you want, but it looks fine the way it is. You can play around with the font, the size if you want, but you don't have to. This looks fine as it is. So now if I was ready to paste this into my final project, I would select it. I would go up to edit copy or simply do Control C. And then I would go to whatever it is that I'm pasting it into. Maybe I want to make a new Google Doc. So I could open up a new doc or a new worksheet. Sorry, it's taking me so long to get there. And let's see, new doc. Okay, and I would simply do Control V or paste. And when I do that, it's going to ask me if I want to link it. Yes, you want to link it, because then if you make a change to your graph on the spreadsheet, it will automatically change it on your document. That's all. That's tutorial number 1 for how to create a basic graph. Hopefully now you know how to do it.